Welcome to Navigating Now. This is episode 191. I'm so excited to have Aly Massoud here on the line. He is one of 5 new hires that we've had this entire year. So, as you can imagine, Thoughtium's growing, business is doing great. We brought Aly in and a few other consultants to support us and just continue our growth. So, what you're going to witness here is one of our Meet the Team episodes. We're going to get a little bit closer to who Aly is as a person, as a professional, and we'll have some fun with it. So, welcome, Aly.
Hello, hello. Good to be here.
How are you feeling coming into this call?
Feeling good. We were talking before. I'm always a little nervous with stuff like this, and I know it's just like our navigating now, meet the team, and it's all about me. So no need to be nervous. Just be me, and we're all good.
Yeah, well, and I also think the nervousness can come from a place of you just care, right?
I
If
do. I
if
do.
you didn't feel any nerves, I'd say you maybe don't care. So,
Yeah.
all is good.
Good
But
way to
you're
look
coming
at it.
in authentically you. I love the shirt. Let's
Thank
talk
you. Thank
about
you.
it. Your wallpaper, because people might be asking questions. Where does this come from?
Yes. So I grew up doing two things often in my free time. So flipping through National Geographic. So I love big Africa nut, love animals, love nature. And then I also, for the wallpaper, there was a Wes Anderson movie 23 years ago called The Royal Tenenbaums. And in the opening montage, one of the characters has this wallpaper. And I was like, I love it. And then we bought our house 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I was like, you know what? I want that wallpaper. So really, the story is dreams do come true. If you wait 23 years, you'll get the wallpaper you want.
Yeah, and you can put it on the wall to prove it that dreams come true. I love it.
100%.
And you said we, so we moved into our home. Where is home and who's the we?
Yes, so home is Arlington, Massachusetts. If you know Boston, there's Cambridge. We're like right next to it. We is my wife and I and our two twin girls. I've actually got a little picture of them here. I realize I don't have any photos of them actually printed out, but here are my little 1-year-old twins, Mina and Maya. Um, but my wife is one of 12, so it is a very large family. So one of her sisters lives with us. And there's just people in and out all the time. My brother was here last night. Her best friend's here tonight. We're going to see one of my brother-in-laws on Saturday. So a lot of family, a lot of people. We've designed our home to be a place for like community building because it's very important to both of us and family. So just having people in and out all the time, it's a little stressful, a little exhausting, but we love it. It gives us energy.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. I appreciate it and admire it because I live, as you know, in a studio apartment in Chicago. So my sense of community looks very different than yours. But I love that you get to bring the family close to you, and your social cup is probably full very often.
Constantly overflowing. I need a
Yeah.
little saucer to catch the rest. So.
I love it. So good. So, okay, you started with Thoughtium just this year. What were you doing before then, and what made the switch happen?
Yeah, so I've been here, I think today is 4 months and one day. So my background was working in nonprofits, working in tech startups, which was fun work, but you get pigeonholed very quickly and you do the same thing over and over and over. And I knew at some point I needed to go to grad school, and I applied to one business school because I liked their approach to learning in business, which is very similar to what we do at Thoughtium. Applied, got in, full ride scholarship, couldn't pass that up. Came here, became very good friends with Aishani, who also works here at Thoughtium. And we had talked about, oh my God, we should do design thinking consulting when we graduate. We'll figure it out. We graduate right when COVID hits. So we kind of go our separate ways, figuring things out. She joins Thoughtium and then messages me, I think a month after she started, like, Aly, I found the place for us. So I had been like back in tech work after basically graduation because it was the only thing hiring, did that for a while. I actually had a very long recruitment process with Thoughtium. So I interviewed originally March or February 2023 when my wife and I were pregnant with our girls. They were born 3.5 months early, bad time to be switching jobs, backed out. And then last December, I reached out to Amanda like, hey, I'm still interested if you guys are hiring. She said, actually, we are. Fast forward to March or February rather, and I'm starting at Thoughtium as a consultant, and I've been loving it.
It was all meant to be.
All meant to be. Very long, but worth the wait. Dreams do come true.
Oh, we're so yes, dreams do come true. We have two reasons to show that. Wallpaper being one of them. Tell us this. So, design thinking was what your background's in. How do you like approach your work now with that? Like, how does that show up?
Yeah, so for anyone who knows me and for everyone at Thoughtium who knows me, I like to have fun. I like to be creative. I like to incorporate play as much as possible. So for me, design thinking is arts and crafts for adults. And I like put away decks, put away research, all that stuff. Just like, how do I get into the mindset of who I'm building or designing for? Um, what's going to make information stick? What's going to make an experience enjoyable? What's going to resonate with them? Where are they coming from? And just kind of having that space to really brainstorm. And with my ADHD, let me come up with a million different ideas, very like big on the diverge. And then it's time to converge. Like, all right, save this for later. This is never going to work. I think this is going to work really well this time. Maybe this is like a half-baked idea. We'll try it like in V2. So I very much like the approach of like, let's get really creative and brainstorm a lot and then focus in, because you just come up with some wild ideas when you're in that space of like what's possible. And it's a lot of fun to try to make the puzzle pieces fit into a facilitation.
Totally. I love that. Something that's just kind of coming to mind is the session today isn't about neurodivergence, but it's just something that's coming to mind. Like, we need to tap into more people on the neurodivergent spectrum because of the creativity, the passion, the excitement. Like, we could all use more of that, So I love that you bring that forward, and it's such a gift. So tell me this: what is an actual maybe project you're working on now, or that you were a part of, where you really saw the design thinking come forward, or just maybe a project you want to spotlight that you've been working on?
Yeah, so ConocoPhillips, I'd say probably is the first one that comes to mind. I joined that project team my 5th day on the job. I think I was like in front of the client day 5 of being at Thoughtium, which was awesome. And we did a workshop recently, and we kind of just like had to warm people up, just given the audience, how do we get them to speak up, to be more engaged? So we were thinking like, how do we sneak in getting them to practice what we'll be teaching them without them realizing it? So if you're going through emotional impact, you need to be able to connect with people through empathy, our no feel do workflow. Rather than getting someone to know about what work or project you're doing, how can we kind of trick them into practicing that? So the activity was, you're in a group of 4 or 5 people, tell them about a vacation you've got coming up. So what do you want them to know? What do you want them to feel to get excited about it? And then the action being at the end of the vacation options you've heard, like, whose do you want to pick to go on? So it's fun to like, how do you kind of sneak it in a fun, engaging, like warm up kind of way?
Yeah, in a way it's low stakes. Everyone can connect to a story around vacation. I love that it's not like having them jump right into like work situations and scenarios. Like, let's just get their feet wet in a
Exactly.
way that's like more humanized.
And between the first and second time we did that workshop, we had to add the caveat the second time that you cannot offer to pay for someone's vacation for them to choose yours. So it's an evolving process. You learn and you
Right.
adapt.
Got to keep revising because people are very creative and resourceful. They'll come up with some new ways to get people on board with their own vacations. Very
Exactly.
good. Very good. Let's see what else. So we talked about a project spotlight. We talked about you in the design thinking space. What else do you want the people to know?
Ooh, I try to be mindful, and because I can't sit still a lot, I found that the thing that helps me practice that mindfulness is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I've been doing for a little over 2 years now. And you wouldn't think it's a mindful activity when your opponent is trying to smother you, choke you, lock out your joints, but I've actually found it to be extremely meditative, because you have to be 100% fully engaged in the moment, because the second your mind wanders, like someone's going to catch you, you've lost. So
Yeah.
you have to be fully there, and like someone's presenting you a problem that you have to solve, but at the same time you're presenting them a problem back that they're trying to solve. So it's this constantly evolving, like intricate dance metaphor thing. My favorite saying about jujitsu is just involuntary yoga, which is very much the fact, because I'm finding that I'm flexible in ways I didn't know possible. But I think like, all right, if I can be in the moment in that extreme environment or that extreme situation, like how can I practice that mindfulness? Like when I'm building a deck, when I'm doing facilitation, when I'm with my family, when I'm with friends, when I'm cooking is a big one also. So just how do I channel that so that I'm fully present? I'm not always worried about the future, because I'm always thinking like, oh, what's coming next? What's coming next? So how can I be here and now?
That makes so much sense. It's like finding the stability in the moment. And when you're in jujitsu, there's like a lot of instability and things out of your control. So if you can master that, you take it into a space where you can find a little bit more intentionality.
Exactly.
Very
And you
cool.
learn and you adapt. So it's fun. Like, how do you make it different next time? So it's fun.
And there's belts. There's belts with jujitsu.
There are. I recently got my blue belt about a month and a half ago. So I now feel confident in answering questions of the white belt. I used to fall under the curse of being Professor White Belt, of being a white belt who doesn't know anything but tries to offer advice. Now I'm like, all right, I
Mm.
have a colored belt. I can give some advice, but I still don't really know anything. The difference now, though, is that when you're no longer a white belt, the brown and black belts no longer hold back anymore. So you realize how bad you actually are because now they just unleash, and I'm like, not nearly as good as I thought I was, but it's fun.
Okay.
See, like,
And then you got to just keep on building. It's like you hit that milestone and they're like, nope, wait, you got to get up to this level.
yep.
Keep on working. Well, congrats on the blue belt nonetheless. It shows
Thank you.
something.
Progress.
Definitely
Progress.
progress for sure. All right. So, anything else that you want to cover off maybe before we go into our lightning round of questions
Ooh,
that you have no idea what they are?
I will say one thing. I think something I'd love to see in L&D more, just based on my experience of having been in that space, of having been on the receiving end of L&D, and something I've already talked about trying to incorporate into the work we do is how do you incorporate more like play into the experience? So it's not just like, oh, you're onboarding, watch these videos, do this activity. It's how do you give a prompt, set some boundaries for like a sandbox, but allow people to like play, have fun with it, get creative with it, see where they go with it. And I find, it's more engaging. People from, we talk about the 10% people will remember as a clear takeaway from communication. Like, I feel like you can stick that a lot better when there's more fun to be had in L&D. So
Why do you think that is? Because what comes to mind for me is it's when people are having fun, there's like an emotional tie to it. And when we have when we're emotionally engaged, we have a better memory and things stick.
and I
What
think
else do
just
you think that's play?
I think part of it is like you're just more open to the experience. Like when you're laughing, having a good time, getting to know people you maybe haven't worked with, you're more open. And I know, I'm sure many people have been in a situation where, oh, I have to go to this training or do this onboarding. You're already coming in with like a closed mindset in some sense. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just something I have to get through. It's something that's mandated. But I think even if someone's coming in with that mindset, if you can begin that experience with something fun, engaging, funny. I like to open up with dad jokes when I facilitate to like warm up the crowd, as it were. And you see the difference. You see the smile come on the face. People turn their cameras on if it's virtual. People volunteer to speak more. They're more engaged in their breakout sessions. So I think it's important, for people first and foremost, and that ability to connect with each other. Ultimately, success is based on how well you connect with people, can communicate your thoughts and ideas to them and receive that information as well. So I think planting those seeds early on helps facilitate that learning, that takeaway, that warmth, and those connections and that pull through we always talk about of how do you establish that continuity after someone has gone through a workshop or a facilitation so that they stay engaged with the material.
Yeah. It starts with like a lightness from the facilitator so everyone else can put their guard down. And I think another piece you're pointing out is how important it is to just feel comfortable in the discomfort because like as adults, we're putting people into situations to learn, try new things where we you did a lot of that as kids, right? As students, but we don't really wear that student hat much as adults. And we're asking people to try new things, step into that discomfort. So I really appreciate your piece around like how can we make this more fun, playful, and almost tap into our inner child is kind of what you're getting at. So we
Yeah,
can
that
be a little bit more creative and see what else is possible.
exactly, like that childlike wonder, because then you just become like more curious and you start making connections, thinking things. You're more again, like you're more open to the experience, and I think ultimately that just breeds success. So
Totally. I'm with you. Okay. Ooh, very good. Let's do this. Let's go to a lightning round. How does that sound?
let's do it. I don't know what's coming. I might go, but we'll see.
I'll
So
tell you this, my lightning round questions, they usually require some thought. So nope, like take your
okay,
time. Silence is okay.
all right.
My first question for you. What's one thing that most people on our team and assuming our viewers as well probably don't know about you?
Ooh, probably don't know. I don't know. That's always a hard one because I pride myself on being such an open book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm very afraid of the dark. I'll say that. Like,
Didn't know that.
I have enough nightlights plugged into the walls in this house that you wouldn't even know it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So,
Fascinating.
yes.
Interesting. We'll have to unpack that offline because that's got to come from somewhere.
It does, and I can tell you where, but we'll save that for another time.
Okay. Oh, great answer. Okay. Question number 2. Okay, 3 words that if a friend had to describe you, what words would they use?
Ooh. Loving, loud, and always kills a joke because I tell it over and over way too much.
Very good.
So,
Oh, that's good. Okay, great. Third question and final question. There's a fire in your house. The family is fine. You can only take one thing with you. What is it?
I've got this like wooden box that my mom got me that has my name engraved in it, and it's where I keep a bunch of like special things. So like, the postcards Aaliyah first sent me when we started dating because we'd send postcards to each other. It's got a copy of like Dakota On in there, a watch my father gave me, a ring from my grandmother, just like little like mementos. So I'd probably just run, grab that box, and just book it out of the house. I
Because
jump
we
out
know
of
we
the
can't
way.
we can't rip the wallpaper off. That's gonna have
No,
to stay.
although I do have spare wallpaper because I bought too much rolled up in the closet, so I might do a quick pass and grab that as well.
Okay, if there was a second thing you could grab, it would be the roll.
Wallpaper, 100%, and
Oh.
maybe the shirt.
Sure, maybe we'd do a quick change.
I'm probably already wearing the shirt. Let's be honest. So.
Let's be honest. You're already prepared. Oh, so good. Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks, Ali, so much for
Yeah.
allowing, our team to learn a little bit more about you and our viewers as well. Everyone, you all can look forward to a few more, actually 4 more Meet the Team episodes in the next few months here. This was episode 191 with the lovely and loud Ali
Very loud.
Massoud here.
Yes.
Again,
Thank you,
everyone.
Nicole.
Yeah. We'll see everyone next Thursday.